Hey guys, back for another short lesson for chemistry. But I know you want jokes. I need jokes. Remember, this is October. What's the problem with twin witches? You can never tell which witch is which. Who lives in a sandcastle? A sand witch. Which kind of October Halloween theme. Okay, today's guys, what we talked about in class today were ions. We said ions are atoms or group of atoms that has a charge. It's something, a term that we're going to use a bunch throughout the class. And remember, assignment that is due for Wednesday, Thursday is right here. So the worksheet, which I'm going to work some on the front and the back, and these problems from the book. And then also on Wednesday, we're going to do lab. Also remember that we are going to be doing the test and the review next week, Monday, Tuesday next week. The schedule next week, I'm not sure I understand it. But anyways, 2 days next week, we will have our next test, a small test. Okay, so I am on this worksheet here, and I simply just want to go over this. We've talked about the notes and we have worked some problems. So real quick, I've done some of these. Number one, what is an ion? It's an atom or group of atoms with a charge. Number one, an atom or group of atoms that has a charge. Number two, an atom becomes an ion by gaining or losing electrons. So the key in becoming charged is gaining or losing electrons. Number three is positive. Number four is metals. Cations are metals. Number five is negative. Number six is nonmetals. And number seven is the charge of the cation, Okay, so let's do a couple on both sides here. Okay, so I'm on, this is where you guys are going to be using the periodic table some too. So I'm just going to be on the board behind me. So we've got the element name. We have got the symbol. We have got the ion name. And we have the ion formula. Okay, and so the first one has already been done there. So let's pick up with the second one. So bromine. So this is where I'm going to be using the periodic table. And so I'm going to go here. And again, you guys will be learning these. Bromine's an element we'll talk about quite a bit. Bromine is right there. You can see it's got a -1 in its upper right-hand corner. So its symbol would be Br. And then its ion name, this is something we're going to talk more about in chapter 5, but a negative ion, it's going to have an IDE. So this would be bromide ion. And then its charge, just like I said, so when we look it up here, Br is a -1, so I would have Br -1. Okay, so that's number 2. So number 3, so magnesium. So again, we're really starting to get to use the periodic table more and more. And so if I look up magnesium, magnesium is right here, element 12. So its symbol is Mg. And when it's a positive ion, we don't change anything. We just call it the magnesium ion. And then again, if I go back to the periodic table and I look in the upper right-hand corner, which you can look on yours, but you'll see that it's a +2. So remember what this means. If something becomes negative, it means it's gaining an electron. So in this case, bromide is gaining an electron. If something is positive, it means it's lost. In this case, it's lost 2 electrons. Okay, let me do number 4. Number 4 is chlorine. So if I go again to the periodic table, chlorine is right there. So it is Cl. And again, when it's negative, the ending changes to IDE. So it's chloride ion. And then again, the charges you can look right up on the periodic table. Okay, now I want to skip around a little bit. So number 8 is neon. And thing that's unusual about neon is a noble gas. And the noble gases, so neon is right there. And if you look, they have no charge. And so the symbol is Ne, and this would just be neon. But technically, neon does not become an ion. So I'm not going to say neon ion. The noble gases, this column right here, only this column, the far right-hand column, they won't become an ion. So most people would just write it like this, Ne, and some people would say Ne0. That's just the noble gases. I don't think there's any other on there like that. Okay, and then let me go down to number 19, then we'll go to the back. Okay, so number 19 is hydrogen. The thing about hydrogen that's unusual, if you look it up, hydrogen, very first element, so if you look it up, hydrogen can be plus or minus 1. So I'd give you credit on whichever way you did it. So the symbol's H. I'll just call it hydrogen ion, so it's H plus, if it's positive. If it's negative, though, remember it ends in IDE, so you could have hydride ion, H negative 1. So hydrogen can really go both ways. Okay, so there's the front. Hopefully you guys can do the rest from there. Okay, now let's go to the back. Okay, so I'm going to get out of the way. You can look at that. Hopefully that'll get you started. Okay, so on the back, do a couple of those and we will be done. Okay, so here we've got the element. We've got the symbol and charge. We've got metal or non-metal. So you say metal or NM non-metal, and anion or cation. Okay, so I did the first two for you there. So then nitrogen. So again, I'm going to be using the periodic table a lot. So nitrogen, I'm going to look up nitrogen again on the periodic table, and it's right up here, okay? Element we'll talk about a lot. So its symbol and charge would be N, and if you look in the box, it's -3. It's on the right side of the line, so it's a non-metal, and it's an anion. Remember, an anion, A negative ion. Okay, the next one, iron 3. Iron 3, whenever you see a Roman numeral, what they're telling us there is the charge. And so if I went back here and I looked up iron, it's right there. And you can see in the box for iron, it says +2 or 3. That's why they're doing this. They tell us iron 3, they're telling us the charge is 3. This is a metal. This is a cation. So again, remember the dividing line is a staircase line. To the left are metals, to the right are non-metals. Well, iron is clearly a metal, and it's positive, so it's a cation. So the next one, tin 2. Tin is one of those where the name and the symbol don't align. Tin is way down here. Tin is number 50. So it comes from the Latin name stannus. Again, with the 2, that means its charge is 2. This again is a metal. This again would be a cation. Okay, let me do 2 more. Then the next one is fluorine. So again, using the periodic table a lot. Okay, and fluorine is right up here. And if I look at that, it's F -1. So this is a non-metal because it's to the right of the staircase line and it's an anion. It's negative. Okay, and the last one I'm going to do here is cesium. So if I go and I look up cesium, cesium is right down here. So it would be a, if I look at its box, it's +1. And there's no Roman numeral because it's always +1. It's a metal, it's a cation. Okay, so hopefully that gets you started on that. So remember, Wednesday, Thursday, finish the worksheet, the problems from the book. We're going to do the lab. And on Next week, Monday, Tuesday, or whatever the schedule is, we're going to have our next test, a small test on Chapter 20. So talk to you soon.